All things considered in our day-to-day lives in the year 2024 and going forwards, the way we perceive girls and women is going to be very important. What I'm here to illustrate in this video today for you is my perception of what a girl and woman seems to behave and think like. There is the Nintendo video game series known as Mario Kart, and this is going to be a first example of several that I can try to illustrate in this video if I can. Help it without saying the already illustrate over and over again. Um, in Mario Kart, especially as the games got forwards into the deluxe version for 8, and maybe even further after that if they do, but that's neither here and there. In Mario Kart, over time, the carts that were in the game, the go-karts that were displayed in the game, the racing carts, started to matter in what terms and ways they will play the game play, the way they would run. For example, Mario and Luigi's cart in Double Dash would be a medium-sized cart, so it would actually run at a balanced way. Whereas a cart like the Duck Mobile in the Wii version of the game was very mobile, could have a decent acceleration, but not be as fast. That's definitely explained that by the way. But yeah, if you had auto in high school or whatever else, even college, that would matter to you. But it matters for everyone to understand that. No different. Anyways, the way I describe a male mind, and take this with a grain of salt, not just because of the movements going around these years, but even in terms of psychology overall, okay? Take this with a very grain of salt. I'm not a researcher in that regard. I'm not even someone who researches plenty of these videos, let alone any quality content you can consider with this. Trauma indeed. But there you go. A male mind happens to be very accelerative. They have a way to be creative as time builds on. This connects to some red pill philosophy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and debunk everything MGTOW does, or red pill or black pill. There's truth to what they know, but there's truth to how everyone knows things. Like I said in the Shallow's House claymation, everyone knows something that everyone does not. There is a way that works, okay? So you can draw truth from anything, even lies and pointless information. However it's used, how proper it's used to each their own. Men are accelerative. They're creative from the get-go, and they happen to know things that they couldn't possibly have known because they drew from source in their own way. Every single gender, everyone draws from source their own way. They have a way to draw from source, so woo-woo or not, in their own way. So when males, boys, dudes, and even men draw from their own energy and resources to the infinitum, wherever you call it, Krishna, God, Buddha, you name it, or wherever you even consider as an atheist. When a guy draws from their creativity and accelerative mind, they don't need it to have a bigger pool. They just need to have what they want in that moment. They'll use it right away. They're on point. They'll do it. Girls, women, females, you name it. Gals, all the likes. Mans. Uh, heroines, all the like. I can't banner that forever, but anyways. They are what I call omniscience. They have a wider pool to draw from. Females and girls and women alike. They have a wider pool to draw from how they connect to source. Woo-woo, again, woo-woo or not. Any particular way to describe this without getting canceled on YouTube. They, even for being sexist for that matter, but whatever. This is not psychology, so don't worry about it. But they draw from a much wider pool of information and even creativity. The way that females are creative is to draw from a wider pool, unironically more quickly than even guys can with their limited pool. But they do this in a way where they don't have to be faster than the guy to do it. They just know how to connect to it even more efficiently. Imagine architecture in a landscape that could have already been shittier. Like, I will punch up for the Woodlands, Texas for the rest of my life. There is a book that describes this really well, where the Woodlands is one of like 30 or 20 architecture projects in Texas that end up being successful. Say what you will about that one pastor that annoys the hell out of everybody. The Woodlands is a architectural success out of 30 different projects. I compare this architectural environment testing to women and females because that is how a woman thinks, is that they're more connected with their own mentality and prosperation. They know how to connect to their ideas and own creativity well, even if it's a much wider pool that should have been taken longer to deal with. It's not that they're never slow. It's not that a man's never creative, but the way that a girl and woman will be creative and be informative and be productive is not always the same way that guy will do it. This is my own perspective. Take this with a grain of salt. How girls and women think very clearly, even if not always like this, is in its own matter, wake of life, different from how a guy thinks. And even how scatterbrained I was this whole video, it was a little different. But the way you want to approach this kind of perspective for psychology that I'm working with is that, like I said in a nutshell, men and boys and males are accelerative, girls and women and females are omniscience. They're not literally all knowing, and men aren't literally only going to be faster, they're getting fast only. This is just my perspective. So, you saw the thumbnail, it was just those 3 books and artworks I had in the front of it. That's not my mistake. Confident Andy Alele has Ashley Graves. Amelia Rules has Amelia Elizabeth Bride. Even Ella from the What's Up book that Case Parks wrote. They're all heroines in their own right. But do they have to only know what they're doing? Of course not. No one does. Not out of the genders we have. That no one ever knows everything, and no one is ever too fast in their own lives. We're all going at our own pace. We all know what we have to in the moment we do those things with what we got in those moments. So, but how do you approach this in terms of knowing girls and women well, whether you're one or not? Let's just work with that. This video is gonna get canceled so quickly before I even get to the other shit. But no, I'll say that for another time. The other thing I was gonna use as an example, you probably know what I was gonna be at that point. But let's just say I personally, and this is gonna be my better example anyways, I personally did not seek out new love in my own personal life, partially because of my own reasons to heal and do shadow work and self-healing. But I have to be very honest with you, it was also because I don't even understand myself that much as a guy. And I don't even understand women as much as I want to believe. Freaking Mr. Gownley, Jimmy Gownley probably understands women better than me. And he said because he literally has daughters of his own and a wife and kids and other experiences with women. Now, that's not to say that I don't know anything, but I shouldn't have to talk about too much about female psychology if I don't even know how to read a book. Now, okay, that's me too hard on myself. But can't be shaming myself forever for even self-depreciation for humorous reasons or even other meaningful reasons, whatever. My point is, to best understand a girl or a woman, a female, they are drawing from a much bigger pool than seems available to any person particularly, but everyone has access to it, no matter what you are, no matter what kind of person you are, you can also draw from the same infinitum, woo-woo or not. The difference is how you do it. Now, this does mean, unfortunately, that, and even fortunately, all of this good, not only for you, not to you, I mean, because you're going to have a difference from anyone in your life. Doesn't matter what you are, what kind. Okay. Let me just say that you can do this your own way in spite of your limitations. You have challenges and obstacles that come with any person you are, no matter what you are. But the way to understand a girl or a woman is that they come equipped with a way to access that pool from a wider variety. Now, the more specific way I can describe this is that, aside from the Mario Kart example, there is the show. I mentioned this before in a comedy skit, Seventh Heaven. This was a 1997 show towards the mid 2000s about a family of a wife and husband with 7 children, and I didn't watch this too much as a kid, let alone as an adult, but I have a feeling that they get into a certain bit of the Loud House cartoon philosophy where it's like you can get to get along with each other whether it's too many cooks in the kitchen or not. The idea behind too many cooks in the kitchen is not so much a quality over quantity perspective. It's more like even with working what you got, you never have to worry about what else you don't have. And even in terms of the book Old Man and the Sea, don't worry about what you don't have, worry about what you do have. When you put this in lieu with a girl and woman, especially, they are, and I have to be saying this even in a non-sexist way, if I can make it polite, I think that females are somewhat more harder on themselves than even males can tend to be. Because the way a man's hard on himself is by not meaning what he says and still making mistakes that are seemingly dirty and aesthetic. But when a woman makes a mistake, there's even more pressure on them because they have a perfectionist ideal for what to be or what not to be. Now, we've all seen this before, not even by bias, hopefully, but they're way too hard on a perfectionist level, where there's a guy is too hard on themselves from a off the scratch level, as in built from scratch, because that's how acceleration works. With omniscience, there's the perfectionist level. So a girl and woman will be hard on maintaining what they have going downwards. This again goes into red pill and MGTOW philosophy. Not all of it's bullshit, but depends on how you use it. Obviously, everyone knows something everyone else doesn't. Whereas building from scratch as a guy, you you are also your own version of creativity. Now, creativity doesn't have to just be from nothing or even from everything. You can be creative with everything, even if it's too many resources. There's a controversial perspective that Lucid Pixel from Adam Duff from Lucid Pixel says that if you have infinite resources, you will be in the worst position to be creative. I don't entirely agree with that. I think if you use materialism in a bare meat lens than just being minimalistic or quality over quantity, you can make it work. That's the whole point. Cooks in the kitchen being a good thing potentially is that if cooks in the kitchen can be good, then why is it impossible for you to use too many resources to bloat it or fluff it down to perspective of being only bad? That's not the case at all. That's because when you have something to compare it to, you understand it better than if it had only one thing by itself in isolation. Okay, that's why they even say the color light, the color white is isolated because it's not. It's the whole rainbow is white, which means there's nothing else, no other colors outside of it, which is just darkness and pitch black. Okay, that's a philosophy for another day. But the rainbow is white, and that means it has no color and has nothing around it in the first place. But anyways, in conclusion, girls and women are not only different from guys and men and boys and females. They're not only different, but they come with differences that should be respected and still acknowledged all the same. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm not trying to be insert word phobic. Okay? It's just how I would word this in 2024 as Otto Crosswind, Tony Cashman, the guy who just changed his Steam profile to have certain Steam Point Workshop stuff elements that make me seem a little bit interesting and mysterious. But there you go. This concludes Understanding Girls video. For the end card, click on the links that are not going to be here yet, so I'll just keep talking anyways. This concludes what should be titled the Understanding Girls and Women more deeply video. We won't make the title too long for once if we do. But there you go. Take care, guys. Remember that the best thing is an ideal. The right thing is indeed always a promise.